please, just put up your hand, right? So I'm seeing in the chat box, confidence means showing up for yourself. Confidence for me is having the highest mental strength to go about a thing. More like having, some sort of belief or faith in yourself, in myself. That's what Rhoda is saying. Any other person wants to give it a try? Please, if you want to speak, you can just put your hands up. Anybody else? Okay, so the last question I would have. Okay, somebody, yes. Yes, Emmanuel.
Thomas. Right, go ahead and
Oh,
answer the
Thomas,
question.
yes. Please go ahead.
Oh, so on confidence, I think confidence is more about, sometimes it can be contextual, but on a general note, it's about your comfort in your own skin and where you are. Sometimes there are situations that happen that because you're not comfortable with where you are regarding something, you don't seem confident in that thing. So it can be your achievements, your what you know, and even what you've been able to achieve over time. All of these things is confidence. But I think the ultimate is who you are and who you identify yourself to be, irrespective of all these things. For all these things matter also. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the last question I have is, looking at yourself now and comparing yourself to when you were a child, do you think you have become more confident? So it's a yes or no question. Or do you think you are still the same way you were, maybe shy, reserved, you don't like speaking up? So it's a yes or no question. So if you want to speak up, please just raise up your hand. And then, okay, so I'm saying no. I'm saying yes. Okay. Any other person want to give it a try? Yes, I've become more confident. Okay, great. So the whole purpose of me asking these questions is just to show you something that just to help you think about it and be more self-aware and understand where you currently are so that you know, okay, what you want to hear or get out from this session. So I would go on now to talk about, just in case for people that maybe joining us for the first time, who we are and what we do at SWE. So I'm going to go ahead to share my screen. Just 1 minute, everyone. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So who are we? Success Within International is a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people, emphasis on the youths. Everything we do, everything we focus on, our programs, who we are, what we try to achieve, is focused on how we can ignite the success power within youths. Sorry about that, everyone. So moving on, what is our vision? Our vision as an organization that has been standing strong for over 10 years is to raise people of outstanding success for global relevance. Then our mission, we have 5 mission statements. 1, to help nurture youths for creativity and excellence. So if you have been looking for a place where you want to be in a place or in an area, in a community, amongst people that are focused on being excellent or being their best, right? So that it can also rub off on you, you're in the right place. A place where your creativity can be nurtured, where you can be pushed to do better, you are in the right place. That is what we aim to achieve at SWE. Then again, everything we do, we start and end with God. So we also teach youths God's way of success. The third thing is we help youths discover talents and purpose. So if you want to get more clarity, more, direction, okay, this is what you want to do, or this is what you feel more led to do, you're in the right place. Success Within International is focused on that. Also, we want to raise an army of people who will take over the economy positively, right? And yes, we want to be able to raise, great role models that can be able to go out into the world and be able to be good examples. And lastly, we want to help people to ignite their potentials. So the last thing, speed, our core values, right? Everybody that is connected to SWE, we want you to um, be able to show these core values in your life, at work, everywhere you go to. One, spirituality, synergy, passion, exemplary lifestyle, excellence, diligence, discipline. Meaning that, we want you to be disciplined, we want you to be diligent, we want you to be able to be excellent in things you do, we want you to be passionate about what you do. Synergy, work, build communities, spirituality, be able to start and live, a good and godly life. So at this point, this is who we are at SWE. If you have any questions, you can always drop it in the chat box about who we are. I would always respond to you. So now we are going into the core of the session. We already have our speaker already here. I've just want to quickly read her bio. 1 minute, please. Sorry, 1 minute. Yes. So today, as our speaker who's going to be teaching us on this topic today is Funmito Makanju-Osho. She's a marketing professional and a growth strategist who has created strong ties with Nigeria and Ireland. And she's currently working as a growth manager at Google, especially focusing on app development, sales, and growth customer solutions. She is the chief marketing officer at Nicole Project Pro Consulting Limited. She is the founder of the Marketing Professional, a networking and mentorship hub for marketers. So she's here to teach us about how to become our most confident self. So she's already on the call. So please let's just give her a round of applause as she comes up to talk to us this morning. Good morning, Fumito. Good morning. Thank you,
Hello.
everyone. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you
Good
so much for
morning.
having me. I'm going to turn on my video in just a moment, but I was going to ask if we could all please this moment take your phones. I mean, if you're not using your phone, but even if you're using your phone, take your phone, find the flyer that you saw for this session. Please put it on your social media and just invite somebody. Put the link as well. I could put the link in the chat as well, or admin, if you could help us put the link to the Zoom call in the chat. Please just share the flyer, put the link, tell as many people to join as possible. And I think we're definitely ready for a great session this morning. So I'll just give us 1 minute to do that, and then we can start the session. I think it would be so good to be of service to someone else and just help each other grow and become better versions of ourselves. So if you just share on your Instagram, I just did it. I put it on my WhatsApp, and I also put it on my Instagram page now. I put it on the one for my business, and I'm happy to put it on my personal one as well. So let's just do that, and then we can start. Okie dokes. I'll do a quick check. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yes? No? Maybe?
We can see you.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Let me see. There's something.
You should be able to share your screen
Yes, that's actually what I'm trying to get to. Mm, okay, I'll share my screen. Okay. So can you see my screen? All good? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for joining this morning. And I'm very, very glad and pleased to be taking this topic. Thank you so much, Sui, for the opportunity. I've been at SWE now maybe 13 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think I joined in 2013 or 2012. So it's been a ride, and I'm super, super grateful for the opportunity. And thanks to the leadership, Ogabayo, thanks to Mama K, and thanks to everyone that has really just contributed to growing and helping this community become what it is today. As you know, the topic we're going to be looking at today is becoming your most confident self. And I really like the part of the topic that says a conversation on confidence, self-image, and charisma. Because when we talk about confidence, we forget that the word one is always loosely used, but two, it takes different aspects of this topic of confidence. So there's self-image, there's charisma, there's your body, your voice, your tone. All of these shape that confident self of yours. But if we just talk about it like, yeah, do I have confidence or do I not have confidence? I think that's doing a disservice to the topic entirely. There are many parts or many buckets that fit into the topic of confidence, and I'm really glad that we're going to be looking at this topic today. Now, before we get into this, I think it would be nice. We've done a few bits of icebreakers today, but let me know. And I would not be monitoring the comment section because I cannot see it. I'm sharing my screen. However, admin, if you could please just help read out at some point what is happening in the comment section, it would be really great. If you also have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand if it's really pressing to take it during the session. And if it's not that pressing, it'll be really nice to have the questions at the end of the session so we do not break the flow and we can all learn together in an orderly fashion. Okay, so the first question I have today is raise your virtual hand if you describe yourself as genuinely confident. Like if someone were to talk to you today and you're like, you know what? Um, I'm a confident person. I don't know if you can all see my screen, by the way. I'm not sure because every time I come to the screen, I can see myself. So just confirming that you can see my screen. Thumbs up if you can see my screen, please. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so only one person, perfect. Thank you so much, Oluwadara. So only one person says he can describe himself as confident. Would this be very right to conclude as an entire group that only one person would fully describe themselves as a confident person? Yes, that's very interesting, but that's also very good because we're definitely in the safe space and in the right room. Now, second question would be raise your virtual hand. If, uh, admin, could you mute the person? Okay. Raise your virtual hand. Yeah, it's just a bit chaotic on the screen. I don't know, I can't see what I'm sharing. So it's a bit chaotic when I go back to the meeting view. Raise your virtual hands if you've gotten good at pretending to be confident. And it's not a bad thing, by the way, before you feel bad about it. It's not a bad thing to pretend to be confident. So raise your virtual hand if you've pretended to be confident. Thank you, Rhoda. Amazing. Any other person? Only Rhoda? Eunice? Good. Thank you. AJ, I see the thumbs up. So I believe you've pretended to be confident. a few times as well. Um, any other person? Good. Okay. Um, let's move on. Good. Oluwaseun as well. Okay. Guys, I'm just gonna call this out briefly. I think we're having technical issues. Admin, are you sharing screen as well? Maybe you stopped sharing.
No, I'm not sharing my screen. Okay. I think we're
Perfect.
saying I was sharing.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
that was really confusing because I could see all of your screen and I couldn't see mine and I was wondering what was going on. Okay, cool. So we're good now. Let's move on swiftly. So it's really good, and I really like the confidence so far. Like, if you said you could describe yourself as a genuinely confident person, that is great. I think this session is what to also see different things that you can do to continue to bolster the confident part of yourself. So that is perfect. For anyone that said they've pretended to be confident, that's also good because with confidence, it takes practice to get better. And it takes you growing and one acknowledging the fact that I don't believe I'm really confident, but I want to get better at this. So I'm going to pretend. And maybe for once, or maybe not even for once, that phrase that says, fake it till you make it can actually stand true in this situation. So we'll move on very swiftly. Today's journey, what are we going to be looking at today? I've tagged today's journey into six different aspects, right? So the first one, or six conversation pillars that we'll be looking at today. The first one would be the confident myth. To be fair, what confidence is and what it isn't. A lot of times we've misconceptualized the topic of confidence, and we just believe it's supposed to be in a certain way or supposed to be carried out in a certain way. And if I do not have this, then I'm not really confident. We're going to be looking at all of that today. The second thing is knowing your story. How has your self-image built the topic of confidence, and how can you rebuild it, right? The inner critic as well, the silent voice that is holding you back to becoming your most confident self. Then four, we're looking at your body, your voice, your presence. This talks about the physical language of confidence. Then we're looking at charisma, and then we'll be having a challenge for ourselves in the next 30 days. How can we build this confidence? And so we break down that challenge into weekly bites that you can be doing, or also even weekly and daily bites that you can be doing to build up your confident self. So let's get straight into it. I really like an interactive class. So maybe sometimes I would ask, can you hear me? I would love the thumbs up. I would love the emojis. If you have any, I would love the virtual claps. It would be good. And if you have any question, as I said, please raise your hand. And if it's not pressing, you can just wait till the end of the session. Now, the confidence myth. Confidence is not something you either have or do not have. It's a skill that you build. And maybe I'll just do a quick room check. How many people have decided or have thought, you know what, I don't, this confidence thing, I don't have it, and it's what it is. Or you've believed a lie that I wasn't born with as a confident person, so it is what it is. Anybody? No? Yes? So we all believe that confidence is not something you either have or do not have. It's something that you can build. So that's really good. The second thing um here is hold on, another cool. Confidence is the willingness to try, not the guarantee of success. So when we talk about the topic of confidence and being confident as a person, it's not necessarily about I was born with this, I'm very confident, I know the drill, I can do it um, um, with a room full of 1,000 people. It's really just the confidence to bet on yourself to try, not the guarantee of success. So I decide to try today and I fake the confidence today. I've given myself, I've been able to try, I've been willing to try, right? Did I succeed at it? Yes, no, maybe, but I've been able to try. And what confidence is those little bits of trying that eventually embodies you to take on bigger stages and do it more authoritatively. So let's look at some myths and some realities, and then we can move swiftly into.
I thought it's even dropped in some places.
Sorry about that. I'll mute him.
Yeah, that's
Oh
fine.
God, okay. Hey, we drop because Nigeria this thing really.
Okay. So the first one is confident people are born that way. The truth is, confidence is learned and practiced daily. So you get better with every little step daily. So confident people are not always born, or they are not born that way. They became that way, and we'll see how they were able to become that way. It could be the realities that shaped them, it could be how they grew up, the environment, the stories that they were told, the reality that they saw, the opportunities that they were birthed into, that groomed their daily lives. And that's how we see that you're not necessarily born with it, but it's something that you learn and you practice daily. Another thing that we say is you must feel confident to act confident. And that's a big lie. The action is what creates the feeling, not the other way around. So when we say, you know what, I don't feel confident, or I don't feel confident, so I cannot step into a situation to act like I'm confident. You don't have to feel it to act it, right? You need to act confident before you start feeling confident. One good thing here is people tell you that you are addressed the way you're dressed. And the truth is, the days you dress really upbeat, like you dress up and you like the way you look, you would most likely step into a room head up high, shoulders squared, because you believe that you own or you deserve to be in that room just by the way that you're dressed. And that's why we say the action is what creates the feeling, not the other way around. Another thing here is confidence means never doubting yourself. That is a big lie. Real confidence coexists with doubt and fear. Very recently, I had an engagement at work where I needed to speak to, I think, over 500 people in the room, and, maybe over 5,000, on the live stream. And I actually saw myself, I'd practiced, I had a speech coach, I had all of that. But I actually saw myself in the first 5 seconds stutter and exhibit fear. But immediately I got a grip on myself in the first 5 seconds. Honestly, I enjoyed my entire time on the stage, and I cannot wait to be on that big stage again. So confidence is not about, oh, I do not doubt myself, I have it all settled. Confidence is actually doing it afraid. Taking that step even when you feel afraid, even when you feel like you're doubting yourself. Real confidence can coexist with doubt and fear. Another thing is confidence is about looking perfect. No, it is about being your authentic self and being fully present. So just tell yourself, this is how I'm presenting myself today. This is the value that I bring to the table today, and decide to live presently in that understanding, or in that reality. Are we good so far? Room check. Yes, no, maybe. Thumbs up.
You're good. You're good.
Thank you. Thank you. I always just love that the engagements are coming in. Now, the second section here is know your story. I think this session is very important because the thin line between the people that are confident and the people that are not confident is the story that they've been told and the lies that they believe about themselves. The lies, quote unquote, or the truth that you believe about yourself. So when we say know your story, that self-image, that belief that you have about yourself, that thing that you've been told about yourself, is an invisible script running your life. So this looks like all of the things that you were told in the past. You're not good enough. You stutter, you don't use your words correctly, you don't know your worth. or you don't know what you should be presenting. All of those things that have been said about you that you've now come to believe. Because before it can make expression in your life, there needs to be a certain belief about this thing. So the self-image is that invisible script that is running your life. You do not know that this is what's running your life. You do not know that this is what is stopping you from taking on the rooms that you're supposed to be showing up confidently in. But because you believe this thing about yourself, it's holding you back from expressing and being the best version of yourself, right? And the truth is, you cannot outperform your self-image. That truth that you believe about yourself, you cannot outperform it. You cannot fake a lie to someone else. So until you change one, the story in your mind, then you start living the best chapter. But until you change that story, you keep living the same chapter of not being good enough, not being worthy enough, not being authentic enough, and all of the other things that we tell ourselves. Now, how is your self-image built? Because now I've spoken about, yeah, it's a lie you believe about yourself. And some people are like, no, but I don't believe any lie about myself. I actually think XYZ about myself. And now that I've said, self-image is really what helps your confidence. How was it built? And how can you continue to build the right self-image? So now I've identified three forces that help shape who you think you are. The first one is early experiences. Now, childhood messages from your parents, your teachers, your peers, they've created the first rule about yourself. Many run silently into your adulthood. So think back at those things that you one had to deal with as a child, the things that were said about you as a child, the things that your teachers said. Many people, their teachers were like, oh, you're not smart enough. Many people's teachers said, you're not good enough, you don't know anything, you are dull, you're not smart. They compared you to other people, and silently you started believing, if I'm in a room with someone else, maybe the other person should take the opportunity because they're definitely better, right? Maybe your parents always scolded you for not coming back with, for not stepping up, or for out of amongst your siblings, for example, you are the one that always chose to stay back than go to an engagement or a party or whatever it is, and they just said that, yeah, you're just very timid. They kept saying, or they say you're an introvert. That's another one. Everywhere, oh, I'm just an introvert, I'm just an introvert, and then you stick to that lie. When an opportunity positions itself, instead of you to take that position, that opportunity, you tell yourself, oh, but I'm genuinely an introvert, so I'm not too confident, I'm an introvert, I do better when it's just myself. That's a lie. And these things are what is running silently into your adulthood, that is helping you, or will I say help, that is deterring you from taking on the positions or being your most confident self. The other thing would be repetition. What are you repeatedly telling yourself, consciously or unconsciously? These things rewire your neural pathways. Every thought you repeat about yourself becomes a belief. So every time you tell yourself, um, I don't think I don't think I'm ready, I don't think I can do it, you actually are re-emphasizing something. And then when the opportunity poses itself, you are actually not ready, or you do not feel ready. Why do you think many times when we have an engagement or when we're about to do something big, we silently tell ourselves, you've got this, you've got this, I'm good enough, I've got this. You are re-emphasizing and repeating that I've got this, or oh, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's okay, all is well. You tell yourself this thing and you say it so many times because you're trying to get yourself to believe that thing about yourself. So consciously and unconsciously, what are you repeatedly telling yourself? And once you can change or flip that script to be a lot more positive, then you are rewiring your neural pathways to believe the right thing about yourself. The third thing here is comparison. And honestly, every time I look at this, I always say with every utmost respect that like this can be done both positively and negatively. Comparison is good, but it can also be the thief of joy, as we say. In this point, it can be the thief of your confidence. If you're comparing yourself to someone else to motivate yourself, as a positive reinforcement, then that's good. Because you're like, okay, this person is able to do this person is doing this in this way. To be fair, I can do that as well. So it's a positive reinforcement, not when you're like, oh, look at how good they are, I can never do that. Or look at how seamlessly they talk, I can never do that. Or look at how they've been able to command the room and walk into a room so confidently, I can never do that. I'll just rather sit at the back of the room, because I'm an introvert. I don't like the noise, I don't like the all eyes on me. That you comparing yourself to other people in a negative way is doing you more disservice than positive, right? So in this digital age, we compare our inside self to every other person's highlight, and this is so important with like even this social media age, right? All of these people that show up confidently, how I wish you could see the back end, how I wish you could see all of the things that helped them get to where they are today. But because they are showing you only the highlight reel, you know yourself, you know everything that you're dealing with, right? So you are looking at their own highlight reel with your own inner self, and you're like, oh, I'm not good enough, forgetting that they also have their own inner self. They also have that mirror that you're not privy to, right? And I always tell myself something when I get on a stage or when I start talking to a group of people. They don't know what I was going to say. They have no insight into what my perfect script looked like or what my perfect script was. So even if I make a mistake, they don't know. I just go with the flow, because to them, whatever mistake I made that I think I made, to them it was what it was supposed to be. And so they take it hook, line, and sinker. But you're over judging yourself because you believe other people know what you were going to say or what you should have said. No. Self-image is not a fact. It is a story you inherited through all of these different pillars, and that story can be rewritten. And hopefully it can be rewritten today. Are we good? Quick room check. Are we still here?
Yes, we're with you.
Amazing.
Yes.
Good, good, good. Perfect. So let's continue quickly. So now we've discussed what self-image is. We've discussed the three pillars that are shaping, your self-image today. The next thing we want to look at is the inner critic. What is that voice in your head that is not true? And it's just a bad habit. So it's not true. It's just a bad habit. It's just the bad habit of what you've said to yourself continuously that you've now started to believe. What is the inner critic? And guess what? The loudest voice in the room is often the most wrong one. So you see, when people say empty barrels make the loudest noise, in this situation, that loudest voice, sometimes the loudest voice is the voice that is trying to pretend to be confident. And you cannot depict confidence by just being loud. Because you're loud does not mean you're confident. So you see all those people that force it, that try to be the most seen, the most heard, the most noticed. They think they are confident, but they are trying to cover something, or they are trying to show you a part of themselves so that they can bully you into believing that they are confident. So that voice in your head that is telling you you're not good enough, you're not ready, you cannot do it, you're not the type they're looking for, you're not authentic, they would see the lie about you. That inner critic needs to be silenced. And how do you silence and tame the inner critic? So I've put together 4 tools that you can use starting today to help you become more confident. One is name it to tame it. I really love this one. And I remember I was trying to, when I was putting together my slides, I was trying to remember who I had this from. And I don't know if it was a colleague. She said every time she believes a lie or she's about to do something and she starts getting scared or starts believing she's not good enough, she names it. So she gives it an actual name. So for example, she can say Gerald, for example. So she says every time that voice that says you're not good enough, you're not confident, she names it Gerald. So every time she's about to do something and she starts believing I'm not good enough, she's like, Gerald, stop. I am good enough. I've got this. So she takes the thought away from it being her thought to being someone else's voice that is forcing her to become something else. or that is forcing her to believe a lie about herself. So give your inner critic a name and a character. So the character could be, it is pompous, it is overbearing, it shouts, it's trying to overpower me. So that's the character, because when that voice comes, sometimes it's so strong, so it's very fussy, it's very, empowering. It's telling you, no, you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. Name it and say, give it a name and a character. So every time you experience that part that is trying to tell you you're not good enough, because he already has a name, it takes it away from being you. It takes it about, and then you start getting irritated at it, like, why are you telling me I'm not good enough? Gerald, stop. I don't know why I use Gerald, but you can use anything, right? You can tell it, stop. I am good enough. I've got this. Watch me. You can even say, watch me do it, right? Externalizing it puts a distance between you and that thought. That thought becomes, it starts becoming like it's someone else, and you get into the position of trying to prove that thought wrong, right? Are we good? So you have to name it, one, to tame it. If you don't name it, you cannot see. It's just the way like psychologists talk about, like, if you don't name the problem, it's very hard to start solving it. So the first thing is naming it, and naming it by telling this critic that it's not my thought. It is a lie that other people have said over time that I've now come to believe. It's a self-image that have now been imposed on me, but I want to detach myself from that self-image and become a better person. So go from being inside the thought to observing it. So go from seeing that thought as this is my own thought, to actually, it's like you're now seeing it outside of yourself. You're observing it. You're observing what someone else is saying about you, what someone else has said that you've now come to believe. And in very frankly, you should be very upset and irritated at it, so, and that shift only comes when you change, and when you change the story, you then have much power to overcome it. The second thing is this true test. After you've named it, I'm very careful not to live in self-denial, right? So once you've tamed that inner critic, then you ask yourself, is this true? Ask yourself, is this thought factually true? What evidence contradicts it? Because the curiosity dismantles the certainty. So what that means is, when you look at the thought that says all of these things, you ask yourself, is this actually true? And if you tell, we're sometimes very moved to say, yes, it is true. We're very quick to say, oh, this thing is actually true. But behind it being true is, what are the facts that I can present to actually back up these thoughts as true? So if, for example, I say, I cannot take this presentation because I don't know enough about it, I ask myself, why do I believe I don't know enough about it? Once I start asking that question, or I ask myself, you don't know enough about it. Have you been given an opportunity to talk about it before that you did not know enough, that you did not say enough about it? If I'm like, no, I've never spoken about it before, so why do I think I don't know enough about it? I cancel that thought. If I say, I'm not prepared for it, I ask myself, why do you believe you're not prepared for it? What are the things that you need to do to be prepared for it? By the time I write them down, I'm like, oh, but I can do this now. I can do this tomorrow. I can do this in 1 week. And then once I do all of these things, I'm better prepared for it. I cancel that thought. So ask yourself, once the thoughts come in, or those inner critics come in, ask yourself, is this true? Once you can dispower or destabilize that thought, then it stops being true and it becomes something that you're working towards. It becomes more empowering instead of demoralizing, right? So what evidence do you have that contradicts this? And then you can start moving forward. The third thing very quickly is reframing it, not suppressing it. Don't suppress it, because sometimes these things are true. But the good thing is, one, you're now more aware of what is true, and then you are trying to work towards reframing what is true to become better, not necessarily you living a lie. So replace I am terrible at this to I'm still learning this. When you change your language, the language shapes your neural reality. So you're changing your language to I'm not good at this to I'm still learning this to I'm not confident at all to I'm becoming my most confident self, right? To well, I've said I'm terrible. To nobody would believe me. To I need to prove people wrong. Do you understand? Or I need to prove it out to people. So you're changing, you're reframing it from what you believe it is to a continuous improvement. And then the other thing is build an evidence file. I call this one my brag sheet, right? So I always say build a brag sheet, have a brag sheet somewhere on your laptop, on your phone. And I believe 2 sessions ago, when we in January, when we had Kate Ajayi talk to us, she actually spoke about keeping a note, keeping notes, keeping record of many things. And I just call it like at work, especially, I keep a brag sheet, build an evidence file, keep a running list of your wins, because to counter these thoughts about yourself that you believe is not true, you need to know the things that you've done. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, girl, you're good. You're good because one, you've done two, you've done three. I named the things that I've done, and I look at my brag sheet. And by the way, this is just being very vulnerable. I dance a lot. Like yesterday, I put on worship music and I was the only one in the house and I was really dancing. Like the dance that you dance and like you're almost sweating. That is how I celebrate myself. I don't need anyone to clap for me to know that I'm doing well. I look at the things that God has helped me to accomplish, and that builds my confidence. That builds the way I show up in a room tomorrow because I'm like, you know what? I've done this. God is helping me do more. I need to celebrate it. So you need to learn to celebrate yourself, because once you know some things about yourself, nobody can tell you otherwise. So when an opportunity comes up, you can prep yourself into it because you know that they just need to experience this version of me. The world needs to see a better version of me. So why not? I'm doing them a disservice by not showing up and showing up authentically, right? So read a running list of wins, compliments, and moments you showed up. Read it on hard days. Sometimes ask your friends if you're having a hard time, right? The people that you trust their opinions the most, and that you know they're not going to say it from a malicious way. Ask them, what are some things that I do well that you've observed? What are things that you can delegate to me and know that I'll perform extremely well? When they say these things, then you now find facts about these things that you've done, and you've done well, and then you can add that to your evidence and brag sheet. Okay, quick room check again. How are we doing?
We're following you through, taking notes. In fact,
Love it.
Dara is even saying she's learning so much.
Oh, very good. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Okay, so let's move on quickly. I really love this session because everything that we've spoken about before here and before this particular session talks about the neural part, like a belief, a consciousness, an unconsciousness. So that this part talks about all of the things that you do in the background to become confident. So there is that part of confidence where there's a thought that builds into your confidence, and you cannot truly be confident. That's why I said the loudest people in the room sometimes are not always the most confident, because they could be believing a lie but showing you a different aspect. If you dig down truly, they could have a certain trauma that they are trying to suppress. So to truly become confident, you need to, one, deal with the mental part of it, and then two, the physical part of it. So now, talking about the physical part, which encompasses your body, your voice, and your presence. How do I carry myself and tell the world and my brain who I am? So, one, how you carry yourself tells the world and your brain who you are. So it tells, maybe we even start with tells your brain and then it tells the world, right? So if you carry yourself, you're always looking down, you enter a room, you cower, you sit at the back. I remember in uni, I had my friendship circle with three Success and myself. We always sat at the front, at least the first two rows in class. And honestly, I don't even know why, but like that also helped me know that you can't fail, you can't do other, like you're showing up in class, and sitting at the front as well means you cannot misbehave, you need to listen, you need to do better. And all of this helped shape myself. And so I enter a class, I enter a room filled with people. Even if I enter last, I'm walking straight to the front. It's just the way that I've been prepped. And while I'm walking straight to the front, I'm looking straight on. I'm not looking down. I'm not looking at my shoes. There's nothing on my shoe that I've not seen before. I'm looking straight at where I'm going to, and keeping my shoulders up. If at any point I need to look at someone, give them a compliment, I do that and I keep going. I tell myself who I am first. You are good. And it's not about bragging, it's knowing beyond doubt the person that you are and letting the world experience this as well. So, body, voice, and presence. Research has shown that your posture and your vocal tone shifts both audience perception and how your own hormonal state is under 2 minutes. So, your posture and your vocal tone shifts audience perception. If I came into this call and I was like, hello everyone, good morning, so today, Sui has told me that I might be taking the topic of becoming your confident self. So I have these slides, and if you listen carefully, you'll see that there's a lot of impact in it, but just follow me carefully. Thank you so much. I don't think many of you would stay on this call. You're like, who is this? And why is she taking us on the topic of confidence? But you see, when you have the right posture and you have the right tones, and even in your tone, you have the right inflections, then the audience starts perceiving you as more confident. I'll give a quick story here. Going back to that engagement that I had at work, I was hosting the second day. Now, the first day was a half day session that ended up with a party with all of the delegates going to the pub. They probably were out partying till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. So, historically, the second day is always harder to cheer up the crowd. It's the kind of day that you start talking to the crowd and everybody is hungover, everybody is tired, everybody is just looking at you like, do what you have to do, let me get out of this room. So it's the hardest day to warm the crowd up and get them on your side. And I was tasked to handle this day. What did I do? I started, and I told you about like my first 5 seconds, me being afraid because I'm like, oh, looking at everybody, getting on that stage, looking at everybody, all of the lights in my face. I'm like, Fumito, what are you doing? But immediately I got past the first 5 seconds, I was good. Everybody on the organizing committee told me that the crowd felt so warmed up. They had so much fun on the second day, even more than the first. What did I do? Excuse me, what did I do on the when I got on that stage? I spoke about the problem in the right tone and with the right posture. I knew that they were all tired, and so I did a room check. I said, so how many people needed coffee to get going today? What that did was they started seeing a picture. They saw like a quick screen to evaluate themselves, and that was funny to them. And so they warmed up to me quickly. So I'm like, I know yesterday, was so good. I know we all had fun, and I know that we are probably hungover being in this session today. How many people needed coffee to get going today? Of course, some people are like, yeah, I really needed coffee to get out of my bed. So they put their hands up, and then we all had. So everybody's looking in the room to see who else needed coffee. We had a good laugh. I said, okay, who needed water to get going today? Some people say, I said, who needed to sneeze their alarm a few times before they could get going today? So just understanding the audience, the room, what to say at the right time, that already helps them know that you've got the room. I'm not going to cower to the energy that the room is giving me. I feed the energy first, and the room needs to succumb, right? So your tone, your posture, this gives the audience the perception if you have it in you to command the room or you do not. Let's move on quickly. So the physical language of confidence. What are the physical language of confidence? There are three. The body. Now, how do you show physically that you are confident? You enter a room, you stand tall, your spine is long, your shoulders back. That's the confidence stance. I used to work in sales, and most of my calls were online if I'm not meeting the clients physically. And sometimes some people tell me, how do you show the client that you're confident on a call, because sometimes they're like, yeah, but Funmito, you're always talking about, being in the room with a group of people, but like I don't have the opportunity to talk to people in a room. I probably interact with people more online. Your hands show. I always ensure that my audience see my hands at some point. The reason is, if they don't see your hand, you can be using your hands. So I don't know if you notice, people that are not confident, their hands are under the table, they're like this, they are doing something, they're fidgeting. When you see my hands like this, or I'm talking to you and I do things like this, it's a power stance that shows I'm here. Like, look at me. It shows I'm I'm very present with you. When I do some things, like I do stuff like this, I do this, it means I'm reiterating a point that I want you to catch. So even if it's just my face they're seeing, it can get boring. But they see my hands, something is catching their attention. When I want to emphasize on something, I do something like this. That is part of your confidence stance. So it's not only about, if I'm on a call with a client, I never do this. I never fold my hands. I'll show you. I never do this. I don't fold my hands, because you folding your hands shows that it shows that you're closed off. It shows, even if they were saying something that you accept, if you do this, it shows that you're about to fight. Even if that's not what you mean, it just shows I'm ready to attack. That's what it shows. Even if that's not what you mean. So folding your hands sometimes can also be like, I'm not interested. Looking at your wristwatch, if someone is talking to you and you keep looking at your wristwatch, it also shows that you're wasting my time, right? So sometimes I look at my wristwatch very in a discreet way. If I want to know what the time is, I look in a discreet way. But if you keep so many times looking at it, it's like, get going, say what you have to say, and I have to move, right? So your body posture are languages of confidence, and you're always passing something across. Take up space intentionally. When I'm in a room, let people know that I'm in this room. I take up space intentionally. I do not apologize for being there. A lot of times, someone is passing, you're like, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Every time you're fidgeting, you're moving up and down. You're telling them sorry 10,000 times. Why? And it's one thing that I'm consciously trying to build into myself. If you don't need the sorry, I don't say it. If I want to move, and we're very fond of this thing, someone is standing in your way, you're like, sorry, please. Why? Excuse me. Excuse me, can I get past you? Simple, not sorry, please. Sorry that what? What did you do? Why are you telling them sorry? Take up space intentionally. They're in your way. You're not being rash, you're not being rude to just say, excuse me, please. Simple, and you go your way. You don't need to say, sorry, please, can I pass? Okay, if they tell you no, would you stay back? Right? Slow, deliberate movements, not fidgety. I spoke about that with my hands. When I move as well, like when you're talking, or if I'm talking to you now and I keep doing this and I keep doing this, every time I'm talking, I'm moving. You're like, why can't she stand still? Right? But slow movements, sometimes you're talking, I change direction, I look at a different screen, I do that. There are slow, deliberate movements that shows I'm here, I'm present, I'm good. I'm just, moving. Doesn't mean I'm fidgeting. If you're standing and giving a presentation, reduce the times that you're using pacing up and down. You can pace in a confident way. You walk slowly, you stand, you look at the room, you talk, you make your point, you move again to the next side of the room because you're trying to engage the audience. But not that you're pacing from left to right as you're talking. It doesn't work like that. Or you're tapping your feet. That shows that you're not confident and you're just trying to get by. Open chest postures, not closed arms. I spoke about that already. And plant your feet when speaking. Really plant your feet. Don't move from left to right. These are physical postures of confidence. The second thing here is your voice. Speak from the diaphragm and not the throat. Slow down, especially when you're under pressure. When you're under pressure, you tend to speak very fast, and people can tell that you're just trying to get by your script and you're not really grounded in what you're talking about, right? So when you slow down, and I think the last one here is pause on purpose. When you're speaking, sometimes just be quiet. For example, a few times I'm like, room check. Or when I told us, you know what, let's do something at the beginning when I said, share this on your social media. Admin, please help mute the person. When I said, share this on your social media, pause on purpose. Have you noticed that sometimes in a room that is very loud, everyone is talking, the speaker is talking, when the speaker goes quiet, everybody adjusts because they're like, what happened? What did I miss? Pause on purpose to regain people's attention, right? Silence equals authority. I'm speaking, I pause on purpose, I'm looking at the room, I'm waiting for them. They are also waiting. Oh, what's about to happen? What's she about to say? Right? Pause on purpose. Your silence is authority. Slow down when you're making a point. Use your downward and upward inflections. When I'm excited, oh, you can hear it in my tone. When I'm sad, oh my God. Let those even when people are listening to you that they can't see you, let them be able to understand what emotions each conversation is carrying by your upward and downward inflections. Now, eliminate filler words. I use it as well, but I'm very conscious to try to reduce my filler words. Some people say a lot. It's okay to use some filler words, but like not that you're going to be, oh, every single time you're like, let me read a statement on my screen. For example, I'm like, update to our terms. We update our terms on November. Like people almost feel like I get tired when I hear some filler words too much, and I'm trying to work on it myself. But it's good to notice your filler words, know when you use a certain word a lot, and try to reduce it. And you can actually know about these words by slowing down. When you slow down, you tend not to use those words, and then you catch yourselves when you're using it. People use like every little thing. They're like, like or sort of, or actually is another one that people use a lot. And this one, I used to do it a lot. I'm saying something, I'm like, so that or basically people say all of this as filler words just because your brain cannot catch up as fast as possible to the point that you're trying to make, so it tries to fill those places with words. If you slow down, you can gather your thoughts and then speak from there. The third thing is your presence. Make genuine warm eye contact. I told myself, was it last year? I had a meeting with somebody, and in that conversation, I felt like, why are you looking into my soul? It felt so uncomfortable. But then I told myself after that meeting that when I'm having conversations with people at work, I look straight into their eyes. Like, I'm not saying look straight into their eyes for 20 minutes. It's not a romantic movie. Like, but look into their eyes to show that I'm here with you, I'm listening to you. It also shows confidence because people do not know how to look into people's eyes. If I'm looking straight into your eyes, like if you're not a confident person, you cower, you look down, you look away because you're like, oh my God, you feel less of yourself when people look into your eyes. But if two people they're talking, you're making eye contact, you're looking straight into each other's eyes. Of course, you can look away from time to time, look into something, but like looking straight into someone's eyes shows I am confident, I know what I'm talking about. Put the phone away. A lot of times someone is talking to you and you're there like spending so much time like scrolling your phone. Oh, what is this person talking about? You scroll your phone, you put it down, you say no. It just shows it shows you're not interested. Put the phone away. When I'm in a meeting, I put my phone face down. So if I can even put it in my bag, I try to put it in my bag so I don't see it. So it shows I'm here with you, I'm listening. It's not that like, and every time you keep looking at your phone, someone is talking or you are in a gathering and the first thing you're picking is your phone. It shows lack of confidence. Normalize standing, looking around, looking at somebody, giving them a good nudge or an acknowledgement and look away. You can pick your phone a few times, but not that you enter a room and you're just looking down at your phone to help yourself or to prep yourself to be confident. Listen to understand and not just respond. Because when you listen to understand, you make more valuable points and that builds your confidence. Because when someone's like, oh, that point you made makes a lot of sense, it builds your confidence that you get that validation from somebody. So listen to understand and not just to respond. Be interested before being interesting. It ties back to the point of listen to understand. And the other one is name people. The sweetest people actually love the sound of their own names. So I enter a room and I give compliments as well. Like you enter a room and you're like, hello, Vivian, hello, Bumi, hello, Asha, hello, David. Like name people. If you say, hello, dear, it's okay if you don't remember their name, but it shouldn't be that every single time you just use those kind of tones. If when I name people, I feel more like I feel confident in myself, but also it shows people that you actually own the room. Hello, good morning. Hi, Zach. Good morning. How are you doing? Very well, thank you. No, hello, no, good morning. By the time I enter a room, I look at people, I name them and give compliments. Sometimes I enter and I'm like, oh, you look very good today. Oh, you're wearing very lovely hair. I love your jacket. Oh, your shoes look lovely. I don't need to stay there and wait for them to return the compliment. That was not the aim. The aim of that is to say, I see you, I notice you, and I'm giving you your flowers, and I move on, right? So these are physical language of confidence. And then once you can do all of those steps that I've identified, your charisma is unlocked. Charisma is not a gift. It is a set of learnable skills. So all of these things that we've discussed in stage in section 4 and section 3, they are all helping to unlock your charisma. It's not a gift. They are learnable skills. They are things you can learn. If you decide that I want to learn these things, you will learn it, and that builds your presence, it builds your warmth, and it builds intentional energy. Quick room check again. Are we still here? Thumbs up.
Yes, we're here.
Amazing.
Yes, why?
Sorry, Funmito, I
Good.
want to ask a very quick question. Do
Yes,
you
please.
say charisma is the same as aura?
Is charisma the same as aura? Not necessarily, but could be. It could be seen as the same because your charisma, I see it as the way you present yourself. Aura is the energy that you bring
Bring
up.
to the room.
Yes.
Mm.
So, but one feeds into the other because if you have the right charisma, that feeds into the right energy and that brings the right aura. And also, aura is what people perceive about you. Do you understand? So you can shape it, but also the truth is you cannot decide for people, but you can shape how they see you. Do you understand? So charisma feeds into your aura, but I wouldn't say they are the same thing, but they are intertwined somehow. Yeah. Great. Anybody has any other questions?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute.
No worries.
Thank you.
Of course, of course.
Let me check the chat box.
Yes, we can go
Mm.
straight into the last part. So if you were following, there were 6 sections that we were going to discuss today. So we can quickly go through section 5 and section 6, and then we have at least some, if admin allows, of course, we have at least 15 minutes to go through some questions. So the most charismatic people in the room are not the loudest. I think I said this at the beginning. They're the ones who make everyone feel seen. I love making people feel seen. I love asking for people's opinion. I love telling them something about themselves or something they said that I picked up. It makes people feel like that person was listening to me. And that doesn't only build my own confidence as a person, it also builds the other person's confidence, right? So some normalize taking the lens off yourself and also putting it on someone else, because as you build your own confidence, you're also building someone else's confidence. Now, I love that I did all of my presentation in pillars and tools because they're easy to remember. And I really like that someone said it's time to start looking into someone's soul. So you can easily remember one, the body posture, right? The tone, your inflections, your posture, your warmth. And then when we look at charisma as well, you can start looking at these 3 pillars to get better. What are the 3 pillars? Presence, power, and warmth. We spoke about this briefly, but I'll just share a lot more so you get more context here, and you can try to practice this when we go to section 6 when we talk about the challenge, the 30-day challenge, practicing becoming your most confident self. So presence. Give people your complete undivided attention, not part of it, all of you. People feel when they have it and they know when they do not. If someone is talking to me and I'm sitting up straight, listening to them, even in church, or in a gathering, rather like anyone you decide to use, when the speaker is talking and they see people nodding, right? And they're like, it builds their confidence. They keep going. Imagine speaking to a room full of people and everybody is just silent, looking straight at you, no emotions, no nods, no clock it, no all of that, nothing. Everyone is just looking straight at you. It's very weird. You start do you know you can be saying the most important thing, but just because you are not getting that feedback back, you feel like, am I saying the wrong thing? Do they understand me? Right? Building the audience feedback builds your confidence, but also giving, when people are talking, giving them your undivided attention, that like, I'm listening to you, I'm looking straight at you, I'm nodding, I'm saying all of that. It builds confidence, like even for yourself or for the other person. These are pillars that help build confidence. The other thing that I wrote here is, in every conversation today, notice when your mind wanders and return. I put return in in caps lock because return, bring your mind back. It's easy to like wonder. It's easy for your mind to just go through different, like race through so many things when someone else is talking. And the truth is, once that happens, your mind has gone, you're not listening anymore. Sometimes even your body posture changes. If I was sitting up before, my shoulders square, my head up high, and then I'm listening to somebody, when my mind wanders, my back lowers. I start feeling, because I'm no longer there, I'm no longer present, I'm no longer owning the space. I start looking more timid, right? So always ensure that you are present in the moment, so that one, you feel more confident, but the other person also believes that they have your undivided attention. There's power, there's calm confidence. I was talking about the loudest person in the room earlier, but have you ever seen, like, there's some people that they don't shout, they don't make noise, but they enter the room and you're just like, oof, this person exudes confidence. This person's aura, as someone on this call has pointed out, it's just good. It's a breath of fresh air, right? So you don't need to be loud to show confidence. There's power in just projecting the authority that you have. Calm confidence, the ability to affect the world around you. You don't need to dominate. You don't need a title. You don't need to be seen as the leader to say, okay, I'm the leader here, so I can speak XYZ and be confident. Some people will listen and just be like, it's all fluff. But we just need to respect, because, be grounded, be decisive, be clear, own your confidence, own your power, project your quiet authority, or project your authority regardless, whether it's quiet or it's loud. Slow your pace. So how to do this? Slow your pace, lower your voice when necessary, stop apologizing for taking up space. I spoke about that already. You don't need to always tell people sorry. If they're uncomfortable, let them go. Jokingly, my mentor used to tell me sometime, he used to say, I'm trying to remember the word, stop intimidating people. And it used to be so funny to me. I'm like, what did I do? If they are intimidated, that's their business. I did not do, like, I'm not doing anything. You to build your confidence, right? And my aim is not to, and by the way, I should say this on this call, don't diminish your own self just so that someone else can shine and be okay with it, right? If they're uncomfortable, that's fine. Let them work on themselves. Don't say, I don't want them to feel, let me tame myself so that they will not feel intimidated. Let them feel intimidated. That shows them that they have work to do and you've worked on yourself. So I'm not just going to say, I'm just going to tone it down so that someone else doesn't feel like I'm doing too much. If you need to do too much, do too much. Of course, with authority, with every sense of humility, but present yourself and do not apologize for being yourself and owning the power that you have. Project your quiet confidence, and do it unapologetically. And then the third thing is warmth. Make people feel valued. People don't follow titles, they follow the way you make them feel. Warmth is the multiplier of all other charismatic traits. So even if you've done this, you have the presence, people are talking to you, you are not, shying away, you're not looking at your phone, you're actually looking at them, you practiced all of the power poses, and you've changed the self-image, thought, and mentality about yourself. The other thing is the warmth. People might forget what you said. We've heard this quote so many times. They might forget what you said, they might forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's what ties up your charisma. Like, I enter a room, I work, there are some ladies at work that I genuinely just walk up to and I'm like, oh, you look so good today. Or they're looking sad. I'm like, oh my God, what has happened to you? How was your morning been? And I'm like, do you need a hug? Some of them come to my city and like, I feel down today. Would you give me a hug? Because they are confident and they've relaxed. No, they are confident in the fact that I have the ability to cheer them up, right? And I've also built that for myself because I make them feel seen. They see that I notice them. I ask them, how are you feeling? What have you done today? Are you okay? Do you want to take that? I see that they look a bit uncomfortable about the comment. I'm like, did that make you feel bad? I can tell people that tone of voice, they don't appreciate it. Some girl at work the other day, she looked super sad, and I told her, "Oh, cheer up. It's pretty obvious that you look overwhelmed." And she smiled about it. We hugged, and she left. And then she came back. She was walking mindlessly through the corridors, and I just looked at her and I'm like, "Fix your face." Now we are friends, so I felt like I could say that to her. I'm like, "Girl, fix your face." And she smiled about it, and someone was like, "Oh my God, Fumta, why will you say that?" And I'm like, she understands. But after that, I went to meet her and I'm like, I didn't mean it in the wrong way. I hope you're okay. She's like, oh my God, I know you. I know you didn't mean it the wrong way. But you need to understand that not everybody can take the bluntness that you present sometimes, even while you're confident, right? So be warm enough to understand people. Let them know you for you. Let them know and appreciate the value that you bring to the table, but also be warm about it when you say it, and don't just believe that, yeah, like they should get it. And you know that lie that would say, this is how I am. I feel like that theory of saying this is how I am is the lowest form of self-confidence, is the lowest form of self, even. When you just believe that this is how I am and I cannot change, everybody should deal with it, I think it's very low. Always believe that you can be better and you should be better. How do you practice warmth? Is find something genuinely admirable in the next person you meet and compliment them for it. I'm sure we're good. I'll run quickly into section 6, and we're over time. It would be living it daily. This is your 30-day confident commitment. Confidence is not a destination. I never say, I enter some rooms and I'm like, Funmito, you need to do better. I enter some rooms and I'm like, oh, it's good. But I also admire people. I'm like, I love how they own the room. I love how they command, their authority in this room, and I want to do better. So it's a daily consciousness. It's a daily practice. It's not a destination, right? You can always get better at it. Small, consistent actions compound into a transformed identity. And you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your system. So sometimes you're like, yeah, I have this goal to be confident. How do you get to come? You don't just automatically become a confident person. You don't rise to the level of being a confident person. You fall to the level of your system. So if you don't put the right systems in place to practice daily to be a more confident person, you would not become confident, and so you fall into you fall to the level of the systems that you've put in place. So if you put the right systems in place, you rise to that level. But if you don't put the right systems in place, you fall to the level. It's just like they say, you are as strong as the weakest link, something like that. So it's almost the same explanation here. And so the last thing is basically your daily confidence habit. We'll share the slides, I believe. If you've joined, I don't know if admin would have all our email addresses, but we're also very happy to share this within our community. If you're part of the community, that's Success Within International, or we would also put this on our Instagram page, I believe. I do not know, but I'll share the slides, and please reach out to us if you want the slides or if you would like to go through the content one more time. So I've created a 30 days confident habit. So this is day 1 and week 1 to week 4. And basically week 1 talks about awareness. Here morning mirror affirmations, state three strengths that you have allowed, because as we said at the beginning, your self-image about yourself feeds into the confidence that people can that you exude to people, or that people can see about you. Two is, and by the way, I hope you notice that I use filler words as well. So I notice them, and I try to work through them. The second thing is, notice your inner critic thoughts. Write them down without judgment. So don't judge yourself. These are the things that I've noticed. And then remember, name it, tame it, and then start working towards it. Practice your power poses when you're talking to someone physically, when you're talking on a call. What are the inflections in your tone, your movements, your body movements, your poses? Practice all of that. Week 2, we move to identity shift. Start sentences with I am. Those statements are very intentional. I am confident. I'm good enough. I am resourceful. I am helpful. I am warm. I carry, I have the authority. I'm knowledgeable. I went too fast. So do one small thing that scares you each day, and call or message someone you've been avoiding. I think this is actually a really interesting one, because we always say, yeah, you are confident till the person that you're avoiding steps into a room, and then you shy away, you look at your phone, you distract yourself about something. If you're truly confident, anybody enters the room, you can face them. You don't need to have bad blood. You can just be like, you don't need to get along as well to, to be friends or to whatever. Just confidently say hello and move on, right? So, but someone that you've been avoiding, maybe you're whatever it is, for what reason, if you try to call them and message them, just say, I don't know, whatever it would be, but try to face your fears, quote and unquote, for week 2. Week 3, record yourself speaking, watch it with curiosity. A managing director at Google told me when we had an onstage event that he recorded himself. Even the senior vice president of Google does this, by the way. He would record himself before an event, talking about, like, recording himself about everything that he's going to talk about at that event, like doing a dry run. He puts it into an AI tool, and he says, how could I make this presentation better? What are the things I did wrongly? How many times did I use filler words? Where could I have presented the detail a lot better? Record yourself speaking and watch it back. Watch with curiosity. How I spoke here, I could have spoken better. I could have done something better. Record yourself. People always say, and I do it as well. When I record myself, I'm like, it's so cringe. I don't want to watch it back. But watch it back with curiosity. That's the only way you can learn the things that you did or could do better. Practice eye contact in a conversation. In week 3, dress for the version that you are becoming. Review your evidence file. When we talk about integration, how do you integrate everything into becoming your most confident self? Review your confidence file and celebrate your growth. Teach one confident concept to someone else. You always have people in your sphere of influence that could be better. So pick somebody, a protege, and be like, you know what, I'm learning something about confidence, and I want to help you learn it as well. This is one thing that I've learned, and teach them about that thing, and help and watch them do it and get better at it. And write who I am becoming. Describe in vivid detail who you are becoming. Your most confident self is emerging. Your most confident self is emerging. And I'm super glad to be on this journey with you, or to be part of your emerging self. Very lastly, the most confident version of you is not a destination. It's already inside of you. Your only job is to stop hiding it. So write down, choose one habit from your 30-day plan and that you can start tomorrow. Share one insight from today with a friend or colleague. And please, you can tag me on whatever quote stood out with you today on any of my social media pages, and write your confident self-description. Who is the person that you're becoming? Who is the lady? Who is the man that I'm becoming? Write it down, look to it, affirm yourself by it, and you're well on your way to becoming your most confident self. Thank you so much for listening today. I've put my social handles on Instagram. I'm the marketing professional _ and my personal page is FMAK _ on TikTok, I'm the marketing professional, and on LinkedIn, I'm Funmito Makanju-Osho. Truly a pleasure to have taken you through this topic. I'm truly honored to have taken the topic, and I hope you're on your way to becoming your most confident self. Very
Wow.
well.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Funmito. Honestly, I'm even lost for words of what to say. I have questions, right? And I took a lot of notes. But I'll first of all just, ask the audience, like the same people that were on the call from the beginning, stayed to the end. Everybody was, locked in. It was just such an amazing practical presentation, because we always hear about be your most confident self, be authentic, but it just felt like you were holding our hands and really saying, okay, for example, Mudupe, move to the left, move to the right, do this, do that, don't stop doing this. And I also noticed a lot of things that definitely from this call I'm going to watch out on, and try not to do them again, because it just really shows, or it might somebody else might perceive it as me not being confident. Yes. Let me just ask quickly. Anybody have any questions to ask? Do you have any questions you would like to ask? Please feel free to ask your questions. Please, if you want to unmute and speak, you just raise up your hand. If
If you don't have
you're
any questions, I'll believe I've done an amazing job
amazing
today.
job.
Okay,
Okay,
so we have
Dara, Eunice, yes. Okay, you Dara first. I think I noticed her hand first.
Thank you so much, Ma, for this beautiful session. My
Yes,
note
it's
is
all
definitely sharing insights, and I got to even invite some of my friends who are also on the call, and we've been enjoying this session. I think my only question is it possible to fully eliminate filler words? Do you think someone can ever get to the point where like you not end up using filler words? Yes. And for some people who see staring into their eyes, like looking eyeball to eyeball as rude, what do you suggest that you do in that instance? I mean, for senior colleagues who are like 60, 50 something, that like, oh, when they are talking to you, just put your hands at the back and, like just listen. So how would you address such a situation? Thank you very much.
Of course. Good to see you, Dara. So the first question, how do you eliminate filler words? As you can see, I use the filler word. I don't believe filler words are bad. You just need to reduce it.
reduce.
When people have some conversations, you can hear it. If they're reading a sentence and you like they're saying something and everything you can hear is, you know.
Mm.
I went on a, and so when we were walking, so and I'm like, make your point. You would always use filler words, but use them systematically, because filler words are also it's like a pause to your brain, like I'm trying to gather my thought, what do I say next? You use filler words, but try to reduce. Don't use filler words every 2 seconds or every 5 seconds in a conversation. Try to reduce as many filler words as you use. You can use the filler words, reduce them, but also just be systematic about it. So I don't think you need to eliminate it entirely, just reduce them and be very systematic about how you use them. The second thing is for the adults that say, and I think it's a cultural thing, for adults that say, don't look in my eyes, look down, I think just read the room. Um, for some people, they say looking into their eyes is rude, you shouldn't do that. In what context? I'm not looking into your eyes to stare you down. You're talking to me. If the person is an elderly person and they say don't look in their eyes, I'll just say read the room. In the home front, it could be maybe different from in the corporate. And if it's corporate and the person is saying don't look, I'm not a servant, I'm an employee. If you're making a point, I should be able to look at you. Where I come from, I'm a Yoruba girl, and they say something, and I'll just say it on the call, and if I would interpret it as well, they say Ojulorowa. How would you like that you're speaking? Someone is talking to me, and you're talking to me on this call, and I'm like that. It doesn't make sense. It looks as if I'm uninterested. So look, you still look in their eye, look at them, but maybe look away intermittently. But I don't think it's wrong to look at people. And if it's just a cultural thing where an elderly person says, don't look in my eye, especially if you're not a slave, I think it's a bit weird. But I would acknowledge nuances and like look away occasionally, put my hands behind my back, curtsy, respect them as much as possible. But I wouldn't say in a corporate setting that you should not look at people's eyes. It just shows you lack confidence or you're shy. I hope that helps.
Yes. So she has responded in the chat saying thank you. So
Good.
the next person was Eunice
We had Eunice, we had Progress,
and
and
Progress. Okay, Rhoda.
Okay, yes. Good morning, and Funmito, thank you very much for that wonderful time. So my question is, you said something about projecting quiet authority, right? So, for instance, if there is an individual person that already in their own natural state, they are very quite kind of reserved and stuff like that, right? But then you are in a place of authority, maybe in a working space as a manager, where you also have to show authority. But then you are on the same kind of like an engagement or a project with someone that already has like the loud confidence. How does the person with the quiet authority navigate such instance whereby already there's already someone that has the natural out there persona, right? And then the other person is more quiet. They are doing their job, but they don't want to be in everybody's faces, right? Already at the back of maybe like the senior manager's mind and stuff, they look at the quiet person as the person is not performing as much. So how does that person navigate such instances? Yeah, thank you. That's my question.
thank you very much, Eunice. So confidence is not entirely performative. There are ways that you can still exude confidence and even make the loud person feel like they don't know what they're doing. You just need to put your thoughts together and present it well. So one thing that I used to do in meetings when I joined my current organization, I mean, people there were already like used to the system, they knew everything. I was still getting used to the ropes. If they ask a question in the meeting or they're like, okay, this thing is up for conversations in the meeting, I always pick my slot. Either I speak first or I speak last. Those moments, if you speak at the middle, it's easy to forget what you said. But you see, at that beginning where they throw out the question and everybody is still like, should I speak? Should I not speak? I just chip in. I'm like, I'd like to take a cue here. I'm just looking at what you said. Da 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 da. I say it and I'm like, I'm happy to hear every other person's opinion. I keep quiet. There are ways that you do it that people remember and people know that Eunice doesn't talk much, but you see, when she opens her mouth, you need to listen. Or if I don't choose to talk first, I choose to talk last. When everybody has finished, I'll just be like, I'll just like to wrap up, everybody's thought. I quite agree with what everybody has said, but I'm just thinking around the lines of da 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 da. These are my thoughts, but if I think of any other thing, I'll be sure to let you know. That way, you're very quiet. You don't need to be loud, but just choose, because you know that you don't have the energy to back up your confidence. You are strategic about the way you do it. The other person is loud. You share an email about the work that you've done. Share it in the most succinct, but like really good way that like people will go and read it and be like, I can see the results here. Also choose the right places to speak about the work. You don't need to speak about the work to everybody and anybody, right? But in the room where it matters, that's when you speak up with all of the things, charisma, everything that we've discussed today. That's why. So you don't need to be loud. You don't need to be at everybody's desk saying, how is it? How is it? But like when it comes to where it matters in that room, very quietly, I would like to just, and use your pauses as well. That's part of your quiet confidence. I'd just like to chip in something here. Can I get everybody's attention? Be quiet. After everybody's like, keep quiet, then you speak, but just make sure that what you now said makes absolute sense. That's the only
Yeah.
that's the only downtime. Like make sure that what you now say, it's good, everybody listens to you, and then you keep quiet. So you don't need to be the loudest, just know that I've got this. Be quiet, pick the right moments to speak. Don't just speak in between everybody where you're forgettable. And then when you talk, present your points very quietly, very slowly, say what you have to say and keep quiet. So, but they would know that you've said it right, you've said it with confidence, and every time Eunice talks, honestly, we all need to pay attention. That's how to be it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Funmito. So the next person will be Progress.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hi,
Thank
Progress.
Hi, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma, for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. Also, especially where you gave practical tips. So I have one and a half questions. The first one is basically how do you manage the intersection of confidence and respect, especially when you work in an environment where a lot of the people are much older than you and consistently you're the younger person in the room. So I'm confident, yes, but sometimes like there's nuances involved and I just don't want it to be read the wrong way. I think you've touched on it a bit, but I would like you to shed more light on that. The second one is about how to have I don't know if they are like subtle conversations or just how to have conversations with people who are older. So I'm not very young, but I'm still young. But I think sometimes because I work in an environment where a lot of people, let's say they are HNIs, they are older people, and I know that a way you build charisma is having conversation. But sometimes it's like, what am I supposed to say to this person? We're not exactly in the same frame of reference. So it's like, how can I have those conversations with them in a way where I'm leaving a lasting impression on them? So those are my questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Progress. I'll take the first one. I'll take both questions, but let's go with the first. When you talk about this is also very nuance focused and very cultural focused. I'd had someone when I moved here, I had someone tell me, "Ah, you say my lot. It's okay. It doesn't reduce who I am. If that's the environment that I'm in, I walk into the room confidently. I do not shy away from courtesy. Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon. How are you doing today, ma? I'm not rude by asking you, how are you doing? And if you feel like that's not a question to ask, good afternoon, ma, and I move on. My head is still up. I'm carrying my bag or whatever I have that I'm holding. I go on, sit, cross my leg, looking straight up. In any room, I'm okay to, as I'm walking past, I see anybody. I don't have to kneel down. I don't have to, I see you, curtsy, greet you, and move on. It doesn't stop me from being confident, or like that doesn't mean I'm disrespectful. Do you understand? It doesn't mean, like, how else do you show respect? I acknowledge you, I greet you, I respect you, and I move on. I don't have to look down to show that I respect you. I've greeted. If it is a thing of, for example, there are some people that you don't stretch out your hands to shake. I don't need to do that. I see someone, I curtsy, and they greet me. If they stretch out their own hands, I can. If they don't, if they are like really older people, I just, because if you don't shake their hand, they'll say it's disrespectful. If you don't need to, you just curtsy and you keep it moving. But I don't believe that to show respect, you need to like you need to tone down yourself, right? Get into any place, ensure that you respect. I say ma in every situation, and I learned this from my mom. My mom is like, everybody older than you, greet them, say the ma, and keep it moving. The ma does not reduce from who I am. Good morning, ma. How are you doing today, ma? I hope you are well, ma. If that's what they want. Some people are like, it's too much. So I put ma at the beginning and at the end. Good morning, ma. How are you doing? I trust everything is mine. I just thought to greet you, ma. And I go, like, just choose whatever works for the audience that you have. But I don't think showing respect and being confident should I mean showing respect should deter you from being confident. Just look at how to do it. You enter the room and you do it accordingly. For the second question about, I can't remember now. What was the second question?
So basically, having
Oh yeah,
conversations, yes.
conversations with younger people. So first off, look for conversation starters. You can research this or Google this, chat GPT, whatever. What are conversations? I will give you a few topics. Here, around this side of the world, is a lot about travel. When I was in sales, it's weather and the travel. You get on a call. Oh my God, how are you doing? What's the weather looking like today? It's a conversation starter. Oh, it's been raining. We start from there. Another thing is vacation plans, travels. Oh, where next are you? Whereabouts are you off to? Where else are you traveling to? All of those conversations, because people genuinely love traveling and the weather changes so often, people love talking about it as well. You can decide if their age group likes to talk about something, because at the end of the day, to have a conversation, you're not having the conversation that you want to have. You're trying to have a conversation that they want to have, that you are possibly interested in. So you need to build your curiosity. Research what are conversation starters, and you're like, oh, they're interested in this thing. I could tell them, oh, I see that, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, social media, or maybe a certain star artist is the rave of the town. I don't know. I honestly cannot place whatever conversation you would try to have with them. I could just
Yeah.
be like, I see that most of people are really raving about this. Do you want to explain to me why people are really going on and on about it? They would even like that conversation. You don't need to do anything. You just need to listen, because they're going to go on and on. But you need to listen, because they also can pick where you are just trying to fluff it. So you ask them specific questions about it, like, oh, this person, like, oh, where did you do that? They're also it's an entirely different conversation, but I think I've spoken about it on Swiss platform at some point. There's something in negotiation called mirroring. So someone tells me something, they're like, do you know I do not like to travel? I'm like, you do not like to travel? You've said the exact same thing that they've said, but you've just mirrored what they said. When you use that with your inflection, they are forced to explain more. So you're like, do you know that I do not the person is like, do you know I do not travel? You do not travel? They're like, yeah, I do not travel because oh wow. Like they would just keep going by you just mirroring what they're saying. Do you understand? But you need to
Yeah.
use it well, and you need to, like, sometimes you say something else, then you mirror. But I think having a conversation, one, look at the things that you're interested in and be genuinely concerned about them. A good conversation starter, as I told you about that, my friend, is I see that you're not looking well. I'm like, oh, are you good? You look like you're not feeling up to it today. And they're like, yeah, sometimes it can be one word, sometimes you can dig deeper. But I think in building conversations, you need to be well interested in the other person, and you need to be curious enough to want to know something that they know. And that's how you can build confidence. And once you've done this over time, and they feel natural enough to talk to you, then it will be easier the next time you try to have a conversation, because you don't need to prep them into it. You just greet yourselves, and then it can start flowing. But yeah, I would say that's one way to start a conversation. You good?
Okay. Yes, I am. Thank you very much,
We
ma'am.
can talk more about this if you want. You know where. All right.
All right, all right, all right.
And the last person, I think there was Rhoda.
Last question is Rhoda. Yes.
Well, hi. Thank you so much, Funmito, I've learned a lot. My note is right side by side the slides, which is interesting. And it's interesting to see. I have a comment what comes with a I have a comment that ends with a question. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. See, filler words. Anyways, I realized that my confidence journey is not a linear one. So it's one where at some point I was confident, at some point I shallowed, then I was confident. I guess it depends on the situation and where I'm at that point in my life. And then you realize different functions and channels that, makes you express yourself. But I've been in a situation where someone has literally sat me down and say, oh, you're not giving us room to shine as well. And then this like literally call a meeting and say, okay, so these are your team members. You need to also give them room to be able to speak. But I'm like, okay, but I can't force anyone to. So in such situations, how do you then create room for other people to shine when they're not showing interest in shining? I don't know if that makes sense, but everyone around you thinks you're the one. But again, you can explain that to people because it's going to feel like, so yeah, how do you strike that balance?
Yeah.
And then the other thing would be in a room where I promise you, if I'm looking into your soul, you will fall in love with me. I'm joking, but like if I'm looking into your soul, and when you're in a room with someone that just keeps chatting, and honestly, I'm tired. Like I am tired. Can you just stop talking? So how do you try and, find that balance as well and say, okay, I enjoy this conversation, but I need to, up off and move to the next thing. But yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. The first one, how do you help those people? The truth is you can't help them. You cannot help, and that's why I said, and I'm so happy I said in the presentation that, like, you should not apologize for your own confidence. They need to up their game. But one thing that I do, as I told you, sometimes I speak first, sometimes I speak last. If I speak last, that is me giving you room to talk. Sometimes in the room, I could be like, something is happening or people are talking. I'm like, are there any takers? Does anybody want to take a jab at this? Nobody speaks, I go. Like, I'm giving you room to speak. I could be like, do you want to take, like, I could even name people. I'm like, hi, Amanda, do you want to take that? No? Okay, good. And then I speak. That way, you cannot say I did not give you room. You cannot say I'm always holding it. Sometimes if they think you are always the one, whatever, be quiet a bit. Let all of them take a go at it and then say your own. And then the truth is, when you say your own, the difference will always show. So I sometimes wait to the last and then I say my own. Or sometimes I'm like, you know what, guys, do you want to take a go at this? If they don't want, and I speak my own, you cannot come back and then say, Funmito is always speaking up. You could have spoken up as well, right? And once this happens a few times, then nobody will tell me, Funmito, you didn't give me, because there are receipts to say, but she told you to speak 1, 2, 3 times. If it's a different scenario of maybe people putting their hands up for things, you can, in a situation, because you're also building yourself, you don't need to count, they should put their hands up, but like, you can give people room as well. Like, sometimes just take the back seat and suggest. So you don't always need to be the driver. Sometimes you're like, I'm happy for you to take the lead. I could just support. I have a few ideas that I will share with you later on. It's okay. The truth is, that person that is taking the lead, they know if your ideas are the one that help the thing fly, they know the idea came from you. And they will only be doing them, like, they will only do well if at the time when they're presenting, they give flowers to. I do that a lot. Like, sometimes my manager doesn't even help with some things. And when I'm presenting, I'm like, I just want to acknowledge, Phil's insights and recommendation. It was really helpful to this. He feels so good. And that way, he doesn't feel like I'm taking the spotlight from him when I'm presenting to top leadership. For him, it feels like, yeah, top leadership knows that I helped in this decision making. So I feel like, acknowledge them, ask them if they want to take a go, and sometimes let them take the lead and you just settle for supporting. But like, people observe and people actually know the one that is doing the actual work. And for the second question that I now cannot remember, can you tell me again?
Sorry, yeah. What am I sorry? I'm learning. Okay. So the second question was finding a balance, someone that talks like they just want to talk all their way through, and then you are staring into them and I'm lost already. But yeah.
You can politely just be like, I'm sorry, like, what I do, I have buckets for some conversations. This conversation cannot go longer than 15 minutes. I try different things. That you remember when I say, when you're having a call with somebody, try not to look at your okay because you want to show them you're interested. The same way,
Yeah.
start looking at your wristwatch. You look at your wristwatch 3 times. You're like, I'm so sorry to cut you. I really want to continue this conversation, but I really need to run. It's very respectful. I really need to go. Like, what do you want me to do? And you're like, hold that. Or like, once they start going into a different, I'm like, hold that thought. You know what? I really want to continue this, but I need to stop you right there. I want to be paying as much attention to what you have to say, but I really need to pick up on something now, like, as respectfully as possible. But you don't need to just sit there just because they are enjoying what they're saying. You don't want to be there,
Yeah.
and if it's someone that is very notorious for killing, jokingly one day come like, I only have 15 minutes today for this conversation because I have so much work. Present it in the most respectful way, but like, don't shy away from saying, I need to run, sorry. Good conversation, but bye. Let's pick it
Yeah.
up
Thank you.
later. Let's do it later, but yeah. Or look at your time, body signals. I mean, once I start looking at time, people know. I'm like, oh, I'll just look at it again. I'll look at it. You're already like, do you have somewhere to go? Yes, I do. Sorry. You get, so yeah. I'll say do that, and let me
Thank
know
you.
if it works. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. And just one more question. Good day, everyone. Here's my question. How do you repair or come back from a situation where your first impression of being a confident person to people is damaged? Toluwalashe, I might need a bit more context. When you say it's damaged, like, how did it get damaged?
Hello,
If,
Famisa, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I think what the question is trying to say is that, let's say you have met someone for the first time and when you met that person, you didn't come off as a confident person, and now you are missing this person again, or you're having subsequent conversations with this person. So how can you now, change that impression? I'm guessing that's what the question means, because I tried to read it over and over again.
Yeah. I would say just practice all the things that we said today. Just show up again, but confidently. It might take a while for them to, because they are now viewing you in a certain light, but people notice when they see a change. Haven't you heard people be like, that girl has changed? Do you hear how she speaks now? They might not notice it the first time, or they might not acknowledge it the first time because they might be like, she was a bit weird. Because they already know that, like, oh, you did something before. So they already have a notion of she's not confident. Like, she was acting a bit weird today. Looked like she was doing too much. But when you show up over and over consistently, in that way, it stops being forced and they start be like, actually, she's changed. They start acknowledging the confidence. So I would say pick up yourself from, just like you said in the presentation, it's a daily thing. It's something that you keep doing and keep getting better at. So yes, you showed up at some point, you weren't too confident. The next time you show up, put your best foot forward, dress better, wear clothes that make you feel confident, know about what you're about to talk about so you're more confident. Practice all of the things, your pauses, your eye contact. The truth is, if they don't acknowledge you the first day, they will acknowledge you the second or the third. But for you, you know that it's not also about, and this goes back to self-image, it's also not about what they say about you, because they are saying she's not confident, she showed up not confidently. What is the truth you believe about yourself? What you believe about yourself is like, I'm now becoming a more confident person, and so you start showing up as becoming a more confident person, and eventually they will catch up. So start believing better about yourself, and that shift changes your self-image, and then you become better. I hope that helps.
Okay.
And if
Yes.
you have more context to Luwalashe, please, like, you can text me on any of the social media handles or FMAK_, and we can talk about it on Instagram. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Funmito. So we'll just end the Q&A session now. I'm really, really happy that a lot of people felt comfortable to ask questions. So I actually there was a list of questions I wanted to bring up in case people did not ask, but people ask questions across different sections, right? But there's one particular question I feel strongly that it will help someone. So just giving a hypothetical example, let's say there's someone on this call, right, who has, earlier on in your presentation, you spoke about having a brag sheet, right? And you even made reference to something Kate Ajayi had mentioned before. I know she talks about having a note sheet on your phone that you write things about yourself, that maybe you have noticed about yourself that you are good at. So let's say there's someone on this call who is saying to themselves that I don't have anything to be confident about, or that I feel like I do well in, or a supposed, brag sheet. In fact, I don't feel like I have anything to offer, right? But now I'm hearing you talk about confidence, and now I want to work on myself and show up better in the world. So how can you say someone can I know you're talking about building confidence, but how can you say someone can maybe rediscover that spark about themselves? Because if we're being honest, for you, before you are even confident, you have to believe in yourself or know yourself to a good extent. Yes. I don't know if the question is clear.
So, for that, but there is a dilemma.
Sorry about this. Let me use the person.
Averse is plenty.
Who's this person? Okay. Yes. Person is on mute. Hello?
Sorry, I thought I was speaking. I was muted. I'll tell the person to go back to my presentation and read it from beginning to the end and practice vividly everything that I've written there. The truth is, the answer to this is actually what we've discussed from the beginning. Like, what they're talking about in, I don't know if I have a brag sheet. I don't think I am good at anything. It's a lie that they've believed about themselves from wherever it came from. So they need to reinvent that self-image. They need to listen again. They need to name those thoughts. They need to, literally every single thing that we've discussed. it's first a mental thing than a physical thing for them in terms of this in terms of this confidence journey, if we're using this hypothetical situation. So I would say, one, just go back and think through again all of the things that you've heard about yourself and why they believe it, and write those things down. The self-image, the entire exercise that we've discussed, they just need to do it again, and then they will become better at it. So I think it's not a one size fit all. Is one, like those thoughts that you believe that have made you think no, you need to name them, tame them, write them down, and start growing from there.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Funmito.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you again, Funmito, for your time. It was an amazing session. This session is actually streamed live on YouTube, so you can always go back, to watch it over and over again. And Funmito is also, presenting her social media handles, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. And she has already spoken about how, she's open to, receiving questions, right? I would want to end this session by recommending this book. I don't know if you can see because I'm using a background. It's called Confident and Killing It, right? It's written by Tiwalola Ogunlesi. It's a very good book. It's also like a practical workbook on helping you build your self-image and your confidence as well. So yes, thank you again, everyone, for staying up until this point. I hope you enjoyed today's session. I hope you learned something from today's session. People whose confidence was confidence rating was, let's say, 3, 4 at the beginning. I hope it has increased now that we have listened and learned from Funmito. So this is the end of the session. We also meet every third Saturday of every month to discuss topics like this. Our flyers are always shared on our Instagram and all our other social media pages. So yes, thank you everyone once again. Thank you, Funmito, for your time. We really appreciate it. Okay, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.